Salute, Knicks Nation. The Knicks get blown out in Dallas. Let's talk about this frustrating game as the Knicks went down 114-129. They couldn't stop Dallas. Defensive issues still lingering with this team. A slow start didn't help the cause as well. Thought there was a lack of energy early from these New York Knicks, and Dallas got the jump, right? No Luka tonight, no Gafford, and no Klay Thompson, right? But they came out with fire and desire, and the Knicks were sluggish. But the first half was much of the same, right? It was embarrassing, and we couldn't stop anything. The third quarter, the Knicks made a run. Cat and Brunson got loose and erupted, but that's when Dallas's shot making went to the next level, right? And they were just hitting ridiculous shots, contested shots as well. We're going to talk about this one, the road ahead, guys. Get your thoughts on this frustrating loss, and also let's talk about some adjustments, right? I'm not happy with Tibbs right now at all, and we're going to talk about some ways to fix this lineup and this defense right now, because it is seriously lacking, right? As the New York Knicks gave up open shots. Dallas hit a lot of tough shots, but they were already in rhythm at that stage, right? Brunson put up a heroic 37 points, right? But it was empty calories tonight because we just couldn't get any stops, right? It was just back and forth all night long for the most part. But the first half was one-way traffic, right? And look, defensively, there's some serious concerns. Bridges, are not able to help stop dribble penetration. Teams are getting downhill. This was basically, to me, a carbon copy of the Utah Jazz game, guys. But I think we're a little bit better offensively. Obviously, the second half, we did hit some shots, finished with 114 points. But, Dallas, they're a very deep team. And as I've got in the notes, I think their role players showed a lot of toughness and grit. That's something that our role players are very few and far between. I think Cameron Payne gave the Knicks really good fire and desire, but look, our role players and and the starting five need to show more grit, more physicality, because I think, like we saw in Texas the Houston game twice now, guys, that the referees, they're just allowing a whole lot more physicality in Texas, right? Really tough officiated game. It was inconsistent. They started to draw the whistle in the second half, but the first half you could basically mug someone and assault them, and there wasn't a foul call at all, And so, we're going to go through the box score and give out our grades, but salute to the chat. I see you. Going to get to all your comments as well. But tonight's show, we're also going to talk about where we sit statistically as a team after 17 games, fam. Before the game, after 17 games, these numbers tell the story. We were second in offense coming in, but 23rd in defense coming in, and that's going to slip. That's going to slide even more, averaging 115 to our opponents, right? But tonight we give up 129 to a Dallas team with no Klay, no Luka, and no Daniel Gafford as well, letting Quentin Grimes get loose on us as well, with the Crypto King, Spencer Dinwiddie as well. Talk about frustrations, man. I'm at boiling point in terms of the defense right now. And let's talk about how to correct this, right? But the New York Knicks are dead last in free throws attempted. The final statistic you see, 30th in the league at free throws attempted. We're only getting 18 free throws a game. And that's a culmination of us not driving as much and being slow-paced, half-court team with less possessions and a slower pace. But that's also poor refereeing. The New York Knicks are not getting the whistle right now. Cat, Brunson. What do you guys think to that? Dead last in the NBA in free throws attempted right now. Only getting 18 free throws a game, right? And how many did we get tonight? Right, as I pull up the numbers from tonight, fam, we got to the line 30 times because, they did start to pull the whistle late in this one. But salute Coach J. Mars, Joseph, hit him up, Ernest in the building, Daniel Berry and AP. What's up, guys? Great to see you. Smash that like button. Before we dive into the nitty gritty, want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving early. And it's a shame the Knicks couldn't serve up a great game for us tonight, but nonetheless, we'll get it in Charlotte. Got one more game in this road trip. We're 2-2 on this West Coast trip, 10-8 on the season right now. But I think we've got to see these things early, right, and go through these struggles to realize that it just ain't working and it ain't gonna work. We need to switch things up, and we're going to talk about that tonight. With the lineups as well. Precious Achuiwa on the cusp of coming back. And I think he's going to give the New York Knicks what we need, which is a bit more length and size. I mean, I didn't think this was going to be the case heading into the season, but I think we are a bit small in the starting five, fam. I mean, OG Anunoby couldn't hit shots tonight, coming off a career high. It happens, it was a come down tonight where he just couldn't hit shots, but it didn't let him affect his defensive effort. I thought he was pretty solid still. But our transition defense were poor. We're getting beaten back down the court as well. But we are small. We are small in the starting five. I think we need to get a center in there. Push Cat to the fore right now. Bridges is playing extremely soft on the defensive side, and obviously we're going to talk about that a lot tonight, guys. I'm not liking the physicality, the lack of physicality with our starting five. It's been a theme, when we come up against the Utahs, the Houston Rockets in Texas tonight, Dallas, these longer teams with length and size and physicality, we just look small out there, man. And when we're not physical enough right now, and the moment Precious is healthy, he needs to play 25 minutes at least. I don't care if it's off the bench or if it's starting or not, but we need to get him in there, fam. I thought Pacome Dadier, it's a shame that he ain't getting any minutes. 8-man rotation again tonight. So that's what I'm not liking about Tibbs right now, so early in the season. These guys are tired, man. You can't keep playing 8 men. I mean, Pacome Dadier he's shown that he deserves to play minutes. He's got length, and he's a plus defender from what I've seen right now. And Cameron Payne's giving us a good spark, good energy as well. But him and Deuce, it's a smaller backcourt. We need extra size as well. Hit 'em Up says we literally only play 6 players. Yeah, it's a shame. Joseph says, what percentage is this on Tibbs? His defensive strategy is very predictable. Yeah, a lot of it is the long-term thing. As I bring up the stats once again, guys, and I appreciate you for smashing that like button as well. You've always got the streets buzzing here, and we'll get through your comments tonight, fam. But yeah, the pace and possessions, fam, we're so low that you have to take care of your possessions. And with Tibbs' schemes, we get into our sets really slow. Brunson likes to walk the ball up the court. We are good in getting low turnovers because we do play at a slower pace. We are shooting a good 3-point percentage because we're getting, decent looks. But a lot of them we have to work really hard. And so with Tibbs' scheme, I think coming out slow, I think that's on him, definitely. It's been a theme this season, right? We need to come out with more urgency. And he's just not preparing this team, defensively well enough, right? So going to give the first grade of the night to Tom Thibodeau, and he's going to get an F, right? It was a complete failure. And I would have looked upon a close loss differently. Let's say it was a close game all game and we were just outdone by hot shot making. That's a different kind of loss to me. But you can't come out looking basically like you don't want to be there. And that's the second time on this West Coast trip. Utah, we had an amazing bounce back, and then we're back to being this team again. It's been Jekyll and Hyde, Joseph. So that's on the coach for me. AP says, I'm ready to ship Tibbs out of here. Hit 'em Up says, I'm ready to trade for Walker Kessler. He would be a great fit, I'm not going to lie. But we got Mitchell, we got Precious on the horizon, and I can't wait, honestly, till they get back in, fam. Julian says, let's get TJ Warren. He's been playing well. Yeah, I'm going to talk about our best rotation. I do think TJ Warren's a chance to get back on the roster in February. But right now, Matt Ryan, yeah, he's eating up a spot too. And look, without bearing the lead. I think our perimeter defense is the worst thing right now. And I think Mikal Bridges is really connected to that. You see this story by ESPN. Opponents are forcing Mikal Bridges to defend over 25 on-ball screens per game, the highest in the NBA. The defense is hemorrhaging 1.14 points per possession when screeners get contact with Bridges. It's the second worst among players who defend 100 on-ball screens right now. And that's on the scouting report. That's on the blueprint. That's what everyone's getting at us right now. And I think it's sticking out like a sore thumb, man. So that is the elephant in the room right now. Our point of attack defense is just killing us. And if you're big enough and quick enough and you can get around those screens with gusto, I think you see things like tonight, like like Utah and like Houston. Against the Denver Nuggets, they didn't expose us as much because OG had a phenomenal game. And also Murray is a lot slower now than he used to be. And they also dump it down to Jokic. But against these perimeter teams that can pull up from three, like your Kyrie Irvings, your Spencer Dinwiddies, and those kind of teams, with Brooks and Green out in Houston, and those guys out in Utah with Jazang. I mean, it was barbecue chicken right on those nights. So we have to fix it, man. And look, Tom Thibodeau, this is where he needs to earn his chops, because he is a defensive-minded coach, and it's going to kill him to see the fact that we are basically in the worst five defensively. I'm going to assume this drops down to a 25th in the league after tonight, 26th in the league. We're just giving up too many easy buckets right now. Troy says, I'm honestly not surprised by Bridges' defensive stats. I see it with my eyes. Yeah, you see a big pickup too when Cameron Payne gets out there and Deuce McBride. We'll see what happens, AP, when Mitch gets right. But we need to fix this before then. We definitely do, man. We need to fix it. And right now, Precious is the next big to get back. And look, even if you've got to play Sims next to Cat, yeah, you got to do it. Right? There's just no doubt about it. We need that rim protection and the dual big lineups, right? So let's give out these grades, man, for the starters. The captain, I thought he was solid. He battled defensively too, drew a couple of charges, was getting after it, was getting fouled a lot as well, got to the line 10 times, but he could have had a couple more, but finished 37 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, was a -12, but couldn't buy a 3. As a team, I mean, this paints the story, fam. We were 24% from distance, while the Mavericks shot 51%. I mean, the margin could have been even bigger tonight with that discrepancy. And so, yeah, you can handle a discrepancy like that if you're getting mismatches and you're getting easy buckets in the paint. But we weren't getting that either. Cat was getting fouled. He wasn't getting the calls tonight. And then, the Dallas Mavericks, they were just raining threes on us. We need to switch better. And that's something that Dallas was doing really well, guys, to stop us and slow us down. You see this pointed out by James Edwards, the beat writer for The Athletic. Says Mavs are switching on everything and the Knicks offense has been struggling. So yeah, when you got good individual defenders with size, the Mavs can switch everything, and we just weren't able to make them pay on that one. Let me get this thing up. Yeah. So, as James said, I agree with that. I think that's a big problem. We have to figure out how to generate better offense when guys are switching. And I do think we need to get the ball up the court faster. Push it off makes, I mean, we're such a good offensive team. But right now, I don't think you can do that unless you play a bigger rotation, because guys are going to get really, really tired right now. We just need more bodies out there for energy. I mean, maybe a part of these slow starts are guys aren't feeling the energy and they're banged up. And of course, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to complain. but when you're banged up, your defense is going to suffer. And I think right now we need to get a 9 or 10 man rotation out there, get Kolek and get Dadier out there. It's so early in the season. And so, yeah, this Jekyll and Hyde thing, it's so frustrating right now. I think Joseph says Bridges' point of attack struggles is connected to Cat playing drop. That's a Tibb scheme. Yeah, that's a great point as well. But yeah, Cat's not a great drop centre, in my opinion. But obviously, I think he's better at the 4 long term. We need to fix that. Let me pull up the box score again. We give out the first grade of the night. It goes to the captain, right? Obviously, he carried us offensively, and he battled through foul trouble as well. Picked up 4 fouls too, but a lot of those were ticky tack. But yeah, -12. That tells the story too. And so it's not all on Brunson, but I thought he showed okay defensive effort, and obviously carried us offensively. Brunson, I'm going to give him a B on this one. It was definitely a standard game from Brunson, but as a team, I just don't think we were in sync. We weren't getting into our sets quick enough. But obviously, you credit Dallas's defense, their length and their ability to switch on everything too. I thought we could have probably gone to the post-ups a lot more as well with Cat and just tried to, get better looks that way and utilize that matchup, because they would have collapsed onto Cat down low. Right, what do you guys think to that? But basically, we also letting our offense affect our defense early. When shots weren't going down and we weren't getting the foul calls, they were getting downhill a lot easier, and that was just really, really killing us, man. Getting down 20 points is tough to come back from in this one. Buzzabita says if Najee Marshall has a big night, it's over. Also, Quentin Grimes, fam. You could put that into the equation as well. But yeah, look, OG, who's been one of our best scorers, when he couldn't buy a bucket, 0 of 8. My God. 3 of 15 from the field, too. And -15 in the box score, 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So yeah, I really think we would look like a different team with OG at the 3. I think that gives us a group of size. It gives us more length. Get Cat at the 4 and get Precious Achuiwa or Mitchell Robinson at the 5 ASAP, right? Even until they return, start Sims next to Cat and then get Huck Porty off the bench, because I just think we need more size. I think the Dury is out, whether or not OG can be a long-term 4 for this team to be consistent. Not because he's not great, it's because I think the physicality element and the durability is a concern too. So, with that said, it's it's tricky right now. We continue to shout you guys out. Smash that like button. We've all got the Nick Streets buzzing, and we're going to hit on the next grade right now. What's up, Don John? Said I'd say do that when Mitch gets back, but not yet. That's a fair point. Yeah, obviously Mitch is the best rim protector we have and the best at drop coverage. But the problem is he's not going to be back until most likely January, fam. And so, yeah, it's a long time to wait. And, we need to capitalize. And we're going to look at the standings tonight. But Orlando, I got no issue saying right now Orlando are a better team than us. Right, they're a couple of games ahead of us now. They're playing without Paolo Banchero. And they're mad deep. They are mad deep coming off their bench, fam, with Isaac, Cole Anthony, Anthony Black. They've got a lot of great young, hungry players coming off their bench. And Orlando, are up there. And we're failing to capitalize on a slow start by Indiana and these other teams, Miami. We're just treading 500 right now. And I know there's been new pieces, but I think it's been long enough now to fix that. And so let's bring the grade for Bridges tonight, right? 8 of 19 Good to see him hit a couple of shots, 4 of 10. Although a couple of them were, when the sting was out of the ball game, 20 points, 5 rebounds. 2 of them were offensive, but only 1 foul for Bridges too. Is Bridges being physical enough for you? For me, he's not. There's a lot of talk about they're not feeling him as a defender. He's not really fighting over screens. He's not playing physical enough. That's also helping his durability cause. And right now, I think it's true. We're not seeing a physical enough Mikal Bridges, right? Good to see him hit some shots tonight, but I mean, it's just been really, really underwhelming right now. Is he going to fix it? Is he going to get better? Absolutely. I think he's going to start playing better, and I think he's much better than what he's showing right now. But whether or not it's a scheme thing as well defensively that we have to tweak, whatever it is, it's not working right now as Bridges with the point of attack defense. And he needs to pick up his play and his urgency and physicality right now, because we saw the stat tonight, guys. Teams are putting him in pick and roll action and screening him, and we're just not getting the results defensively though. And obviously the shot making has been lacking right now. EJ1 said the Knicks screwed themselves and will likely never truly contend with the 5 first-round picks for Bridges. I mean, whether or not the trade ends up being, more favorable for Brooklyn or us, I think it's still a ways to go. But right now, it's looking pretty awful in terms of never contending. I think the Knicks have still got a lot more flexibility. I'm going to break down some of the assets that the Knicks still have. And I think as each year goes by, we can trade an extra first-round pick. Right now, we've got some restrictions on some of these picks we can trade. But as each year goes by, you get those protections lifted. So the New York Knicks have got a really young core still, and they can do some tweaking. I think Leon Rose, Brock Aller, I really think that they can make some tweaks if needed still. But right now, the Bridges trade ain't looking great. Troy says, I think Huck has the ability to play center with Cat at the forward. I would definitely roll with that lineup out unless against the Magic's big front court. I just don't think Tibbs is willing to do that right now. And look, maybe it takes a couple more losses, but I just think their head is buried in the sand, honestly, to think that we can continue to do this with Cat at the 5. And I know so many people talk about the offense, and all we need to do is be in, a league average defense. But the problem is, you're not respecting the rest of the league. The rest of the league got so many great young fast guards and players on the perimeter that can get downhill. And right now, we saw Spencer Dinwiddie automatic from the mid-range, right? And the Cat drop coverage just ain't working. And so, yeah, we can continue to gloss over and glaze the offense. We're second in the league, and we should be proud of that. That is a feather in the cap of, Karl Anthony Towns and the 5-out lineups. But it's not sustainable if you're basically in the bottom 5 defensively. You just giving up whatever you're getting, and so we have to meet somewhere in the middle. You got to compromise. So I would put Cat at the 4, get Huck Porty, get Sims at the 5 a little bit, clog up the paint, and just use our length. Our length to swarm these opposing teams like we used to with Julius at the 4 and with Ihart, with Mitch at the 5. Our defense was elite with Tibbs's old schemes. And yeah, a lot of that was because Ihart and Mitch were really good players, but you can still apply that scheme with the players we have available right now. You've got Jericho Sims, who's defending the rim at a decent level, and you've got another rim protector, Huck Porty, out there. So whilst we don't have Isaiah, we don't have Mitch available, you can still implement that former defensive scheme that we used to have right now. But Tibbs has chosen to completely abandon that. I think for no good reason, right? You know what I mean? Just because they're falling in love with this offense. I mean, if I wanted a team with great offense and poor defense, there's no reason to have Tibbs, quite frankly. You could have Mike D'Antoni the reason Tibbs is here is because he preaches a good defense. And so, yeah, we've got to compromise, I'm not feeling this offense anyway. I know it's great because we've been shooting the three at a good level. But you see tonight, when teams switch, they can give us a lot of problems. So back to the grades, and Mikal Bridges got the C minus, right? Hit a few shots, otherwise it would have been a D or an F. And I really do think Mikal Bridges is a candidate to potentially come off the bench. I'm not going to lie, fam. I'm not going to lie. So I'm not going to dive into this too much tonight, but this is something I've been playing around with a little bit, right? As I just update the graphic down below, that Denver game is well and truly in the rear view, fam. But basically, a couple of lineups I feel could be: you push Bridges to the bench, and maybe you bring in Josh Hart, and you bring in Precious Achuiwa with that starting five, and you push Mikal Bridges to the bench. Because right now, perimeter defensively with Brunson and with Bridges, it just ain't working. So I really do think like Mikal Bridges is a candidate to be pushed to the bench, because what we're seeing right now, it's just not working. So let's talk about Cat, because Karl Anthony Towns with Minnesota at the 4 was thriving, and he's having an amazing year offensively. And I think he's holding his own defensively at times on the glass and rebounding at a high level. But with the drop coverage and the penetration we're giving up, right, he's not the last line defender that you want right there. When your point of attack defense is Swiss cheese, you're just setting Karl Anthony Towns up to fail, having him as your anchor. So he was 7 of 16 tonight, 2 of 4 from distance, 9 of 10 from the free throw, 14 bounds with 4 assists as well and 25 buckets. So a solid night for Cat, but I think, there was too much to do defensively for Cat because of the poor perimeter D. So just going to dial up Cat's grade, and then we'll get to more of your comments in a second. But yeah, I think long term, as each game goes by, fam, I'm starting to see that we need that 5 next to Cat even more too. So with that said, Cat's one of those Knicks tonight that can hold his head up high, I think, as he battled. But again, wasn't great defensively, as with the whole team. But he by far wasn't the worst player by any stretch. But yeah, I think Huck, like Troy said, with Huck and with Jericho, I think let's get a look at it, even for a stretch during the game, Tibbs. But that's why Tibbs gets an F for me. He's just so stubborn. 8-man rotation, even though Pacome Daddier looked like a solid wing defender that can give you 6 to 8 minutes just to keep these other guys fresh. And especially with OG looking completely gassed tonight. AP says, CT, I don't think Bridges is getting the contract he's going to want. I think Leon is going to have to take a loss. Yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in paying Mikal Bridges right now, man. He's losing money on that contract, man, every single day. Is there a lot of time still to pick up his play? Yeah, there is. But right now, he's playing like a below a $10 million player. I'm not going to lie, fam. I mean, a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic, who we had in the playoffs last season, was scoring 20 points per game. It was giving Swiss cheese defense, just like Mikal Bridges was, but he was actually hitting more shots than Mikal Bridges, and that's just an example. And so, yeah, I agree. I think Leon's taken a loss with the Bridges trade right now, but we do have other assets, so we can make some tweaks. I think moving forward, let's see what Leon Rose does, but it's still early days. AP also says the Rockets, who have been rebuilding steadily, have passed us already. That's crazy. I think look, we're probably not going to match up against them in the playoffs, but obviously styles make fights, and they're a bad matchup. And then Orlando are a pretty tricky matchup for the Knicks as well, as currently constructed. But I think that the Knicks can make adjustments to get more physicality and get more size. Um, there's some tweaking we can do. February, we can add a 15th player to our roster as well. We can waive Matt Ryan and bring in Landry Shamet if we want to for some extra shooting. But I think we need a player that's about 6'8", 6'11", that can play some 3 and 4 to really back up OG Anunoby. Look, it's exactly everything that Bill Daughtry and I spoke about early in the season. Josh Hart's amazing, but he can't do it all. He's the real that guy, that junkyard dog on this team that does the dirty work, the grittiness. But we don't have many of those players, and he's 6'4". We need a guy that's like 6'8", that's going to do that dirty work and just be physical out there with extra length. And and I think if you push Cat to the 4 and you get that extra 7-footer, I think that can help eat up some space as well. London says you can't apply the same scheme without the same personnel. Ihart is one of the best playmaking defenders in the league, the best only statistically last year. I'm more thinking about defensively. I think defensively we can still bring that extra size that we had and push Cat to the 4. But offensively he was a very unique player that could play make out of that 5 spot. David says it's all good. We'll win the Emirates Cup. We'll be the talk of the league. I think right now Tibbs has got a lot of headaches, and he's definitely not thinking about the NBA Cup so much. It's a case of just how can we get our defense up to league average, because our offense is pretty, it's pretty dynamic for the most part. And tonight, man, Spencer Dinwiddie going loose was making me sick. And obviously Kyrie Irving was going to make tough shots as well. But right now we're lacking toughness on the perimeter. Next up, let's talk about Josh Hart. Because, like I said, I sing his praises and we all love Josh Hart, but he's one of very few, in terms of getting after it and getting active defensively on the perimeter and down low on the glass. 14 of 21. Sorry, that was Brunson. Hart was 5 of 10 from the field and 1 of 2 from distance. 3 assists, 4 steals tonight with 12 points and a -8. So, a standard box score from Hart tonight. Good to see him hit a couple shots. He was pushing the break. The 4 steals, you love to see him get after it like he does with the 3 assists as well. But the 41 minutes, my God. Talk about, we're just going to run Josh Hart into the ground right now. It's just ridiculous. The game was a loss. That's one of those things where Tibbs just can't cut his losses, when the game is over. Right, 41 minutes for Hart. He's probably going to feel the effects in the next game. Right, so I'm going to give Hart a C+ on this one. But, look, as a team, this is on the whole team right now. Just lack of focus and energy early. AP says, in terms of Ihart, I don't blame Leon for that. The only thing he probably did wrong was not trading him, knowing that he couldn't re-sign him. I think that would have been really tough, but I hear your point. I think we were on a deep playoff run, and I think we just wanted to keep Isaiah and just see what his market value was. But I think we just got burned with that one. But the thing is, I keep coming back to, we have guys, Tibbs just ain't playing them. Sims and Huckporty don't have to do a lot at the 5. They just have to eat up more space and be a better rim protector than Cat right now, just so Cat can focus, on the offensive side. Lou Bang says that they said Spider and JB would be a liability. I'd rather have that than Bridges. Look, man, I would trade that situation, definitely, with Spider, but the contracts and how we get Spider and get Brunson would have been revisionist history. But I think definitely we aren't any better defensively. Bridges is a liability for now, which sucks. I just didn't see this coming right now, and he has to pick it up. Otherwise, he's just going to draw more ire from the fans, from the coaches as well. I'm sure they're going to get stuck into it in the film sessions, and these guys got to hold each other accountable at some point. I mean, it's not at no point where a team meeting is necessary, but I think each player knows that whenever we put in a bad performance, we bounce back. And then we put in another bad performance, and then we have to bounce back again. It's just, when is it going to give way, and just see some consistency defensively? I mean, I'm really happy we have Deuce McBride back. Maybe we need to start him. Right now, Bridges, maybe, come off the bench and start, Deuce. See what that looks like. David says offense comes before defense. We okay, it will come. Remember, no Mitch, no Precious. Those guys will make a huge difference, no doubt about it. But right now, there's a lot of reliance on OG and Hart in that starting five, because with Brunson and Cat not known as defenders, and Mikal Bridges not a defender right now, the burden is falling on these two guys, OG and Hart. And so, look, OG, he's exerting a lot of energy offensively from the last game, but defensively, he was solid tonight, but he didn't have his legs offensively. How many minutes did OG play? 39 tonight, and he fell on the ground about 10 times, and that was scary with him falling on the ground a lot. So, I mean, with OG, I would love us to play Pacome Dadier for me. I mean, he should be the backup wing right now. He should be seeing minutes at that spot, just so OG can play less minutes. 3 of 15 tonight. But look, he gets a pass because obviously he's been our best Nick this season, and everyone can have a down night from time to time offensively. But defensively, OG still got us 2 assists. So no steals and no blocks tonight from OG. Missed 8 of his threes, okay? So yeah, he was disruptive, but he didn't get a steal or a block tonight. So I'm going to dial up OG's grade right now. And look, man, the shooting was awful. Couldn't buy a bucket, but was still active and giving us that effort. But unfortunately, he can't make up for everything on the defensive side because the others struggled big time. Buzzer says JB is our number one option. Cat may score more, but that's been in blowouts. Yeah, Brunson has the ball in his hands, and he has the choice to make decisions, who to pass to, and when to pull up, when to dominate those matchups. But yeah, I would love Cat to get down low a bit more, get to the foul line a lot more as well. Like Buzzer says, and in the past, and I agree, we have to work so difficult for our offense, fam. And probably out of the most, all of these stats, the thing that I'm concerned about the most, guys, ladies and gentlemen, is we are last in the league in free throw attempts, right? That's telling me so many things. It's telling me that we're not getting the right whistle. It's telling me we're not physical enough. We're not getting into spots where we're making sure we're getting to the foul line as well, right? And it's also telling me that it's not sustainable that way to have to work so hard for a bucket right now. I mean, there's no good reason that anyone can give me that why we should be last in the league in free throw attempts. We've got so many talented offensive players. We've literally got players that can, provide mismatches and switch and cut off ball, and we're a 5-out look. So why are we last in the league in free throw attempts? To me, it just doesn't make any sense at all right now. And I know the referees have been really screwing us this season, but I mean, with this starting five, I mean, this can't be last in the league in free throw attempts, man. I mean, Brunson should be one of the highest free throw shooters in the league, and so should Cat, with their dominance. London says Bridges is not a point defender, off-ball defender navigating, but not the pick and roll, not taking pick and roll all game long. Yeah, 100% agree. From what I've seen, he's just not great at getting over screens, and getting down low. And so, yeah, Deuce McBride, I think he's in Cameron Payne. I think those guys really give us a nice boost defensively, and it's no coincidence, like we saw in the other game, the other blowout. Whenever those guys come on the court, we go on a nice run. With Cat, with Deuce and with Payne as well. So I've got to give them a shout out. I definitely want to give them their flowers as we look at their box score now. With Payne and with Deuce in our bench, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but yeah, just 3 players off our bench tonight with no wing. It's basically Jericho Sims, the center, and 2 undersized guards right now. And Hart's having to play 41 minutes, OG 40, Mikal Bridges 39. I mean, it's preposterous right now. And look, especially because Pacome Dadier has looked ready. He's looked capable and able to give you some decent minutes. Right? I wouldn't be saying this if I thought Pacome Dadier was raw and he would get abused and there would be no point playing him. But every time we've seen him on the court, he's been impactful defensively. And so I think he deserves to play. But let's start with Payne. He was 2 of 3, gave us 6 points, an assist and a rebound. Was minus 11. Hit 2 free throws and missed his 3-pointer. But gave us good energy again, 20 minutes. I got no problem with Payne's minutes. I think he brings good energy, and I think he deserves to continue to play those 20 minutes. He's a nice spark off our bench. So I'm gonna give Cameron Payne a C+ for his grade tonight. I think, yeah, he's just performing his role. That exactly what we need from Cameron Payne. Tonight he didn't really, let too many bad shots fly. He wasn't feeling the frustration and trying to, take over and pull up ill-advised shots. I think he was just playing within the flow of the offense, but he was playing pesky defense as well. And we made a little bit of a run. I think we cut it to 13, fam. When the game was really still available to be won, we cut it to 13. Yeah, Troy says if Bridges comes off the bench, we have a wing defender coming off the bench. I think, yeah, it's looking like that's an option. I would give that a look right now. Maybe you give him more confidence. Maybe he can run the bench units and run up and down and get his groove flowing. But right now, it's just not working defensively with the starting lineup. I think Deuce McBride would provide a spark if you want to keep Cat at the 5, or if you shuffle everybody down one spot, and then you could take Bridges out. You could have Hart at the 2, OG at the 3, Cat at the 4, and you could have another 5. Buzzer says, you're 1,000% correct about how our offensive energy fuels the defensive effort. Yeah, appreciate you. I think we're still learning to play both sides of the floor. Our offense has been pretty this season. We deserve our flowers, but we're just simply not good enough defensively. We can't stop. We can't stop anybody, man. It's Matador defense right now. So I think Tibbs has probably tried a few things. He's obviously watched all of the film. He knows how bad our defense is right now. He's been holding his arms out like the announcer said tonight. He's been calling players out on the sidelines. But I think it's time that he starts really holding these players accountable by their minutes. Fam, I think we're at that point now. Right. I don't care if you were traded for 5 first-round picks. I don't care if you're, soon to be awarded a contract. I don't care if you're a veteran minimum player. I don't care who you are. I think it's time Tibbs, otherwise his job might be on the line. But he needs to hold players accountable now by minutes. If you're not performing, you can come off the bench. Right? I don't care. If you're a couple missed assignments in the game, you can go back to the bench, fam. And one of those adjustments could be Cameron Payne taking Bridges minutes. I mean, Cameron Payne's giving us better shot making, on an efficiency level, and he's giving us much better defense than Mikal Bridges. One guy's making $20 million and the other guy's making $1 million. And I think the guy making $1 million needs to be playing over the other guy. So I know there's politics and there's optics, but right now, if you're the coach, you just got to do what's best, in the interest of the team and saving your job, because right now, defensively, we're going to get lit up. What's up, Jazzman? Says regular season is a roller coaster, CT. And Buzzer Beater says Wingstop went bankrupt tonight. And Lou Bang says 100. I think, there's so many options we have, so I'm not worried about our team, man. Long term, fam. I'm still buzzing. You're still buzzing. It's just about we have to make an adjustment. We have to make a tweak. I think the definition of insanity is just rolling the same thing out there, hoping that something's going to change. And we're not going to see that, I don't think, in terms of Bridges guarding point of attack, pick and roll, and Karl Anthony Towns as the anchor at the 5. You're not suddenly going to go from a 26th worst defense to the 15th defense, right? It's going to continue to be bad with that lineup. And look, I'm really happy Precious Achuiwa's getting ready. Let's see what that looks like. Can Pacome Daddier, can we get him in there for a little bit? Can he get some minutes? I mean, the problem with Tibbs is I just don't get the flip-flopping. You play Pacome Daddier certain games and then you throw him back to the bench. Then you throw him back out there again and he looks great. Then you throw him back to the bench. And he's done the same thing with Huck Porty as well. So it's like, I see a coach stressing right now. He's under pressure and he's just flip-flopping right now. I mean, Tibbs is flip-flopping, man, and it's got to frustrate these players right now. I think if you're going to give a player a chance, and especially a rookie, give him a proper sample size. Give him 5 games. Give him 10 games before you pull the hook. You don't give him 1 or 2 games or half a game and they look great, and then he pulls them again, and he plays 8-man. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Jazzman says Tibbs is thick-headed. I agree with that, man. Definitely. He got his new contract as well. So yeah, Deuce McBride, second game back for Deuce. Deuce went 1 of 2. Gave us 5 points in 15 minutes. So yeah, this is where I mention, if I haven't already, I've given some credit to Dallas's defense, but even Deuce McBride was not able to really get open shots tonight. Dallas's swarming defense was pretty good tonight. It was pretty high level. Nothing came easy. Even Deuce McBride in 15 minutes put up 5 points as well. So, I mean, it's just a case of he usually gives us a lot more, but nobody could really get into a rhythm outside of Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen. So he gave us good effort defensively. So I'm going to give Deuce McBride the same as Cameron Payne. I'm going to give Deuce a C+ on the night. Right, as we talk about Jericho Sims and we look at the standings and the road ahead, guys. Right, we've got Charlotte and we've got a really nice, comfortable stretch. Or is it? Coming up against Eastern Conference teams. We'll look at that in a second. But with Jericho tonight, he was 13 minutes, 1 point, 3 fouls, 2 steals, an assist, and a rebound for the Jumpman Sims. Right, 13 minutes. Look, I thought Jericho was solid tonight. Not as good as his last few games, I think, but he was disruptive on the defensive side. So I'm going to go for Jericho's grade. Let's pull that up. Let's go with the C for Jericho. Jericho Sims will get a C for me tonight. What do you guys think? But yeah, he has to get this rotation stretched out, man. David says Mitch is the answer. I hope so, and I think there's a good chance. But thing is, like I said, January, it's there's a lot of games to come in December, and I think right now I want us to capitalize. I really do. There's a lot of teams struggling in the East right now. Right now, we're back in the pack. London says Tibbs said in a post-game interview that Dadier is not ready for fourth quarter's intensity pressure. He prefers to give him the time to adapt. Yeah, I did appreciate that. I did, see that interview. Heard those quotes. Yeah, and I think he's not wrong in terms of like close game down the stretch. You're not going to play Pacome Dadier necessarily, but I do think you could play Pacome Dadier in the second and the third quarters. Just to give other guys a spell, especially Hart and OG. I mean, they're so important to our team. When we look at the box score, I'm just frustrated with the level of intensity in the minutes. They're not working out for us right now. 41 minutes for Hart, and 40 for OG as well. So you take a really bad loss, but these guys exert a lot of energy too. And I do think Dadier can give you 8 minutes. Huck Pority can probably give you 6 to 8 minutes as well. But yeah, that's our starting 5, ladies and gentlemen, and our bench for tonight. Your New York Knicks, right? After a franchise high and a record-breaking night in Denver, a small flight to Dallas, man, can wake you up. And we come crashing back to earth right now as Dallas, without 3 of their better players, absolutely, manhandled us tonight as well, man. Like I said, just the way we lost was the most frustrating, because I could have handled a loss where it's like 3 points, close game down the stretch, Kyrie Irving, 50 piece, or something like that, where it's just amazing shot making. But I just don't think we put up any resistance, tonight. And so, yeah, I gave Tibbs the F buzzer too. So that's a serious indictment on the coach to get an F like this right now. And I think, yeah, if more of these losses stack up, the pressure is going to build. Now, just before we shift and look at the road ahead now, as I pull up these stats, right, I want you guys to tell me what is, if it's not on this screen, if it's something else, what is the most concerning thing that stands out to you, I think, statistically, or whether it is something you think that's not sustainable. Is it our offense? Do you think we'll continue to be the second best team on offense? Do you think our defense is going to get better? Or do you think that's going to continue to slide right now? I told you mine. I think it's the free throw attempts. I think you can't be a dynamic offense like we are and be dead last in free throws. I think you need to find ways to get easier points and exert less energy. Because as the season progresses, man, it's going to tire Jalen Brunson out and Cat. For as good as those guys are offensively, man, they can't continue to grind for their buckets, right? Look at players like LeBron, Giannis, Steph, James Harden, Joel Embiid, all these superstar scorers in the NBA. They all get to the line. They all get to the free throw line, right? you must get to the free throw line. Not to beat a dead horse, but you got to get easy points, right? You can't just play hard for 40 minutes and have to grind for every bucket. You got to get to the free throw line. And right now, the Knicks are last in the league. You know, they continue to talk about Jalen Brunson, undersized scorer, all of that, but he gets hacked. You know, he's getting killed out there. And so, Cat, anytime he goes hard to the basket, he falls to the ground. You know, he comes crashing to the ground. If the ball doesn't go in, we're screwed. It's 4-on-5, the other way. But they have to call those fouls, or Cat has to find a way to get to the foul line, because, if he's not sinking the bucket or he's not getting fouled, it's 2 points. It's a layup, or it's a three down the other end. D Cool says accountability, and says defense. Tony, what's up? Says defense is very weak. And Chris says, how many times did OG hit the ground today? Over 10, man. I counted. It was over 10 times. He slipped a lot as well. I don't know if there was a lot of condensation or dew on the court, but how many times did these guys slip? Man. And what about those rims in Dallas, man? Talk about heavy rims. They're crazy out there. It's like a stiff board. Those rims in Dallas, man, ugly. Absolutely ugly rims. London says possessions. It was our forte last 2 years. Without the offensive boards, you're vulnerable on transition. Nice one. I do think we can correct that with size. Yeah, with Mitch and Precious, I think we can get more possessions with our length as well. I also think we can tweak a few things if we let politics go. I think there'll be a lot of politics with Mikal Bridges right now. How much time do you give him to get better or get right, if he does get right? But right now, I don't know how many games I would go without making a switch up, at least in minutes allocation. It's like, okay, if you want to continue to start Mikal Bridges for optics, I get it. But at least sub him out the game quicker. If the defense is porous after 4 minutes and we're down 9 points, don't keep him out there. Get Deuce McBride in straight away. Get Cameron Payne in. Because I think one of the things is about this team that's great is we fight our way back into the ball game. But if, like the Utah game and like tonight's game, if you give these teams a head start, too much of a head start, it's too much to come back from. You should never be down. You should never be down 20 in the second quarter or late in the first quarter. It was like 13-28. In the first, it was embarrassing. Troy says the defense must improve. This team will be out of the first round with its current defense. I do think there'll be some personnel switch-ups if this continues. I think Leon Rose has always been active and will continue to be active. But yeah, personally, I feel like we're missing a bit of extra size at the 4 and at the 5 spot. I think I've seen enough, for OG this season to recognize that how elite he is. But I think him at the 3 in this modern NBA is probably better than having him at the 4. I think his length, his size, and disruptiveness at the 3, I think would be great. And you get the Twin Towers popping, man. I think that's the buzz right now, fam. You got teams with Twin Towers in Cleveland. You got some Twin Towers as well in other teams as well. And I think we can do it like Minnesota did last season. Look at Minnesota's defense. That's trash as well. And so they're missing that extra size. Troy says the defense is trash. Cat might be the worst team defender in the league. I think he's struggling, no doubt about it. And I think the perimeter defense is as bad as well. And, they're giving up a lot of layups. I think look, I don't want to put too much stress on Mitch straight away, because I do think when Mitch gets back, fam, he's going to be a guy that might have to play like sparing minutes early, man. You want to go easy on those ankles. So Mitch might be a player for the bench. I'm not going to lie. Precious could be the starting five. He's younger, he's healthier, he's faster. Mitch might be an 18 to 22 minutes a night kind of guy, I think, to preserve his health. See, if you start Mitch and you start playing him 30, 33 minutes a night straight away, that might mean that he breaks down again. So what I've got, moving forward, I think maybe Bridges goes to the bench, maybe Precious starts, maybe you put Deuce in, you put Hart at the 2. And I did this graphic before tonight, but yeah, I'm ready to move Mikal Bridges out of the starting lineup right now. It's just not working for me defensively. It's just really not working out, fam. And it's been more than a year now. I think Brooklyn, he struggled. So let's look at the rest of the league, right? Because I haven't seen the action tonight. So let me pop this up right now. We take a look at the Knicks standing right now at 10-8. 10-8. The Orlando Magic pick up another win, and they go to 13-7 on the season. Right, there's a clear 2-game gap now between the Magic and the Knicks. You got the Milwaukee Bucks coming. Right, they were struggling a week ago. That just shows how quickly these teams can come, man. And the Knicks have blown a golden opportunity to make, to push ahead and get separation. So now we're 10-8. We're only a game ahead of Milwaukee of 5. You got the Miami Heat also there as well, with some games to play. They can they can get ahead as well. And you've got Indiana not far behind as well, with one less win and just a couple of extra losses. And then you've got Brooklyn as well. So really disappointing, start to the season in terms of pushing ahead on this weak East right now. And I do think it's going to be bad news. I think we'll continue to drop games like this if we don't make an adjustment. Let's take a look at the games played. Right now, you got Denver bouncing back against the Jazz, right, which is insane because we pummeled the Nuggets, and the Jazz pummeled us. That just shows how even the league is. We've got the Nets about to beat the Suns as well, so they're going to pick up an extra win right now, which is crazy that the team that is tanking is hanging around us in the standings. The one bright spot is that Philadelphia's season is basically a wash, man. They're done. Stick a fork in them, man, for Thanksgiving. They are done. The Philadelphia 76ers, man, they ain't contending, and they got some adjustments to make. 3-14 and another loss stacked up, man. The bottom of the East. But like I said, Orlando continue to roll right now. They're extremely deep. And then you got the Pacers ahead of Portland, right? They picked that one up. So the Pacers picked up a big win as well. But Cleveland got a loss to the Hawks, right? So the Hawks are hanging around as well as the Heat beat our next opponent, the Charlotte Hornets, fam. So we're looking at December. We've got Charlotte, and then we've got the Pelicans, the Magic, the Hornets again, and then Detroit and the Raptors, fam. So that is a schedule we need to take advantage of. If we don't get our stuff together right now, it's only going to get tougher after this next stretch in this NBA Cup. And so we must beat Charlotte. We should beat the Pelicans at home. Orlando's a 50-50 game. And then Charlotte and Detroit again. So got to capitalize, fam. Got to capitalize. But yeah, Julius Randle's really struggling with Minnesota. So I don't think I don't think he's getting any moral victories out of this. I think, yeah, he's really struggling in Minnesota as well. Um, if Mikal continues to disappoint for the entire season, what does Leon Rose do? He'll make a tweak. Yeah, he'll continue to try to upgrade the roster. I feel like he always has, and I think no players off limits, probably outside of Cat, OG, and Brunson. Um, I mean, their legacy's on the line. It's championship mentality right now, and I think, yeah, it depends where we are in the standings and how bad things look. But I think Bridges would go to the bench before he would get traded. I think he might find his rhythm and he might find his role as, as a bench player, and maybe Deuce McBride ascends. Because I think you got to reward players that are on the rise, and Deuce McBride is on the rise. And who's to say that Deuce McBride isn't already or doesn't become a better player than what Mikal Bridges is supposed to be? Deuce is extremely young and he's hungry, and he might ultimately take Bridges' spot, and Bridges might just fall back to the bench. Obviously, everyone's going to go crazy if that happens because 5 first-round picks and all of that. But you just got to roll with what happens. You can't predict the future, right? If Deuce McBride becomes a better player than Bridges, then you got to reward him, and he's due for a contract in a couple years as well. So yeah, long ways to go. We're still above 500, but we are underachieving. There's no doubt about it. And look, defensively, I don't see us getting any better unless, or more consistent. Sure, game to game, we might, buckle down and play a really good defensive game and pick up some good wins. But I think over the course of consistency, it's going to be like Denver to this. It's going to be like, whoa, is this the best team we've ever seen offensively? And then tonight, is this the worst team we've ever seen defensively? It's just like, it's Jekyll and Hyde right now. Like Steve says, the Knicks are very up and down so far. Look, my worry is the East right now. I'm not going to lie. My worry is that, teams are coming. You don't have time to play around over optics and people worrying about 5 first-round picks and all that. I mean, the facts are we need to get out of the second round this season with all the moves we made. And right now, Orlando are better than us. Right now, Orlando are playing better and more consistent, and they have a deeper roster. Right? I'm just trying to see it without the rose-colored glasses, because Orlando are a very physical, good team, and they're playing without their best player. Let that sink in. They're playing without Paolo Banchero for like the last 3 weeks. So they're only going to get better. Philadelphia is bad. We're capitalized on that. But Milwaukee, really bad start. We haven't capitalized on the separation with them. Cleveland's legit at the moment. And then, of course, Miami and Indiana, they're going to hang around a bit. And I do think Atlanta is going to get better with their young players, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, the leading MIP candidate. So I think right now we are where we are. We're a 4th or 5th seed, and I think we better pull our A game for the playoffs if we do finish 4th or 5th, because it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle, man. As Jazzman agrees, Orlando is dangerous. Those 2 German brothers, sneaky good with Paolo as well, yeah. Buzzer Beater says, why is Mikal failing? I know the shot is broken, but what about his defense? So there's 2 aspects to his defense. He's a good off-ball defender in terms of, picking off deflections, passing lanes kind of thing, fam. What he's not good at right now is on-ball defense and also pick-and-roll defense, where he's, I guess if you look at it like he's low center of gravity, or he's got a high center of gravity, and he's got skinny legs, so he's not getting low enough to get around the picks and fight through the screens. But of course, he's a very skinny frame, so he's not good at fighting over big screens as well. So basically he's a bad pick and roll defender, but he's a good off-ball defender as well. So he has his moments. He can still be an effective defender at times. It's not basically black and white. There's nuance to it. But I guess the most alarming thing is, as I pull this up again, this thread going around ESPN, is that the opponents know to put Bridges in the pick and roll. They're forcing Bridges to defend over 25 on-ball screens, the highest in the NBA right now. So if you don't make an adjustment, teams already know they're going to continue to work that and work that. And so you got to get him in a different situation, right? Try to get him in the guarding the corner guy. Maybe you bring Hart. You bring Hart and OG Anunoby into that pick and roll defense, but then the offense is going to continue to try to bring Bridges into that action. So we'll see how it's going to be very interesting to see what Tibbs does and Leon, because for optics, they're not going to want to bench Mikal Bridges right now. For the meanwhile, he's going to continue to start. Does he elevate his play and just become a tougher, more grittier defender and try to tough it out, or does this continue? Does he continue to be a liability, I think, in the pick and roll action, or do we forget about the perimeter defense so much, and do we fix the anchoring, the rim protection of the defense aspect as well? Because I do think with Bridges and Cat and Brunson right now, I think what we thought was going to be a really solid plus defensive starting five, I think we're only looking at 2 above average defenders right now with Hart and with OG Anunoby. With Cat, with Brunson, with Mikal Bridges, it's too much on the other way. It's too much where, got some liabilities defensively and with a couple of good guys on defense as well. So do you put Deuce McBride in there? Do you just switch up the minutes a little bit and just play, Bridges off the bench a little bit after the first 4 to 5 minutes and get him playing with the second unit? I think we will see how that all plays out, fam. But that is it. I think the positive takeaway is that there's adjustments to make. Is Tibbs going to make them? And also the schedule, ladies and gentlemen, is going to lighten up for us. Right, as I pull this up again, the schedule. We've got Charlotte. Can't take that for granted though, because they got some shot makers. We've got the Pelicans. We'll have DeJounte Murray back for that game. I think DeJounte Murray has started to be active now. So that's something to watch. Orlando is going to be a huge chippy game, NBA Cup. That's going to be for probably qualification to see who can get through the group. And then we've got Charlotte again, Detroit and the Raptors again before the NBA Cup finals, man. Appreciate you guys. Keep things buzzing. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Peace, blessings, health, happiness. We'll be back. Take a rest and enjoy family time. Enjoy whatever you appreciate the most. I'm grateful for you guys. Grateful for the Knicks. Grateful to be able to talk about this ball club. We're above 500 still, but we've got some adjustments to make, and hopefully it's onwards and upwards from here. Fam, it's still early in the season. I just hate these kind of losses. I hate the way we're losing. Like I said, you can take a 3-point loss. You chalk it up to to some shot making. They hit shots we didn't. But right now it's a little more than that. We're giving up too many points. Right, so yeah, there's a lot of things to pick up and clean up, and we will, fam, when we get busy, fam, on the next game. And the next game is going to be, when is that? Our Charlotte game is on Friday night, Knicks. Let's get it. Salute everyone. Peace.